Hey guys, so today I'm going to be coming at you with a review on a new foundation. I'm talking about the Nars All Day Luminous Weightless Foundation. I was really super excited when I heard about this foundation. It has some pretty incredible claims saying that it's extremely lightweight, has a really natural finish, has really high coverage, and lasts all day. So sounds like pretty much everything I personally wanted in a foundation, so it was no question that I needed to get it. I have tried it out. I've had this for about a week and a half. I got this actually from a Sephora inside JCPenney, and I got this before they put it on the shelves because I work there, so I was able to purchase it a little bit earlier, which was nice. I am also wearing this foundation on my face today, so I'm not sure how well it's turning out on camera, but I am going to demo this for you so you can see how I applied it. First of all, let's talk about price point. This is 1 fluid ounce and it is $48. I know typically higher end foundations range anywhere from $36 to $45, but we're getting a little close to that 50, and I know that Nars is really nice, but packaging, let's talk about packaging. It's beautiful. Mine's kind of dirty, as you can see. And as most Nars packaging does, it definitely attracts foundation hands, makeup hands, just general grossness, so apologies. When I applied this foundation today, I did it half and half. So on this side, I used the Sigma F80 brush and I just buffed this into my skin, and I actually really like the way it applies with this specific brush. It spreads really nicely and it's able to just kind of evenly distribute everywhere, and I feel like I get a really good use of the product. On this side of my face, I used the Real Techniques complexion sponge, and normally I absolutely adore the way that that sponge applies my foundation, but in this case, it soaks up a lot of the product because it's such a thin, watery consistency, and I don't find that it distributes the product as nicely as I wish it would. If I could go back in time, I would just apply it with my hands on the other side because I would have had a little bit of a better time. This is not a beauty blender type of foundation. You definitely want to use either a flat top, a synthetic brush, or your hands. At the end, especially when I layered them on top of each other, the look is pretty much identical. I had to really work harder with the sponge, which is normally not the case. So again, definitely would not recommend using a sponge. So let's talk about some pros. I personally really enjoy the texture of this foundation. This is pretty much exactly what I want all of my foundations to feel like. Super thin and liquidy and lightweight, but luxurious feeling. And the thing I find most peculiar is with this pump, you don't really get that much product out. So it's kind of like a little bit, and that's supposedly supposed to cover your entire face. I think maybe you can depending on the brush that you use, but for me personally, I have to use at least 2 pumps to get a sheer layer all over my face, and then maybe 3 to 4 to 5 pumps to actually get the amount of coverage that I want. For Nars claiming that this is their very first full coverage foundation, I am inclined to think that the Nars Sheer Glow has a little bit more coverage, and that one is a little bit of a thicker consistency, so I think just in its nature it's going to have more coverage, which is fine. When you layer this foundation, I don't necessarily like the look that it has. It can kind of cake up, at least in my experience, without using a primer. I have combination skin, so my skin is pretty dry, kind of around my mouth and actually around like my forehead and brows. It gets really dry. In the very center of my face, I, however, get pretty oily, specifically around my nose. And so foundations for me, I feel like if I like a foundation, it has survived the true test because my skin is very, very high maintenance. With that said, it does look really nice upon applying it for the first thin layer. I wouldn't say it's full coverage. I would definitely say it's a medium, depending on how much you put on. For the second layer, you can get it to be pretty full coverage, but as I said, it can kind of cake up a little bit, especially around the center of my face. It kind of settles into my pores and just kind of pools in there, and it doesn't look very nice. I've also found that this settles into my fine lines, which I have honestly never had happen before. So I have little lines on my forehead right now, and you can already see it happening now, just my expression lines. And also around my mouth as well, it kind of settles in there as well. So this has happened without powdering, with powdering, and using a setting spray, and also with using several different primers. So not really feeling that so much. And speaking of primers, I have used this with the Smashbox Photo Finish. I've used this with the Cover FX Mattifying Primer, Smashbox Poreless Primer, the Too Faced Primer, and as well as the Becca Mattifying Primer, which is probably my personal favorite. With all of those, it either didn't really work out any differently or it completely broke down almost immediately. And I don't even know how to explain it. It like separated and broke down, and it looked like there were cracks in my skin, and it was really disgusting. I had to completely wash off my face and start over. I just put this on about 15 minutes ago. It will continue to look the way it does right now for maybe the next 3 to 4 hours, but once you get to like the 5, 6, 7, 8 hour mark, that's when it starts to kind of break down on me, especially around my nose, and it will really super settle into these lines, because even as I'm talking, it's getting worse and worse as this video is going forward. So I also think that I would feel more inclined to enjoy this foundation if I didn't just try out the Maybelline Dream Wonder Fluid Touch Foundation. I love this. They feel very similar. I almost want to say this one feels a little bit nicer. It almost feels like kind of like an oil. Think like baby oil, the way that liquid feels. It's so soft when you apply it. That's exactly what this feels like. And it feels even more luxurious than the Nars, in my opinion. I would say it has a little bit less coverage, but this is like $6 and this is almost 50. I have a better time getting this to stay put and to cover without looking super gross than this $50 one. So with that said, I don't really recommend this foundation. I think maybe if you're intrigued, definitely try a sample of it and see if it works well for your skin, because you may have a completely different experience than I did. I, however, am not really a fan. I mean, I am wearing it today. I mean, nothing horrible is happening on camera, but in person, I think it looks just a little cakey, and it is clinging a little bit to the dry patches here and definitely around my mouth. I don't know how well that's translating on camera, but in person, I don't feel as confident when I wear this foundation. I can definitely wear it, and I have worn it a lot. It's not really my favorite. It's not really my go-to. I much prefer the Maybelline, which is only $6. Kind of a bummer. I don't really strongly recommend this foundation to most skin types. If you have really normal skin and you just want a really nice, everyday, natural-looking foundation, then I say definitely go to Sephora and get a sample of it and try it out and see if it works for you. Because I could definitely see the appeal and why people would really love this, but for me personally, I'm just really not feeling it at all. Definitely preferring that Maybelline. So anyway, I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you tried either of these foundations, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts on either one. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you again very soon. Bye!